Okay, today we've got a pencil sharpener, an old Panasonic pencil sharpener. My granddaughter came to me and said, "Pops, the pencil sharpener doesn't work. I'm trying to do my colored crayons, my colored pencils." And she says, "Well, I don't know." I said, "What happened? What'd you do to it?" She goes, "Oh, I don't know, nothing. It just isn't working anymore." So I just grabbed it, brought it out here to the garage, and it sat out here for a while, and I really didn't pay any attention to it till the other day. I thought, man, let me go look at this thing. I needed to sharpen a pencil out here in the garage, and sure enough, plugged it in, didn't work. Shook the cord a little bit, it popped and spit, and so took a good close look, and lo and behold, a nice break. Now, I'm not going to say what happened here, but I can picture somebody saying, "Hey, I think my scissors can cut that," and somebody else going, "Oh, no, they won't. Well, I'll show you." And this is what you get. Doesn't look too burnt, so maybe they were smart enough to unplug it before they tried it. I don't know. So anyway, pretty easy fix. We're just going to cut this here, splice these, solder them up, and we should be good to go. All right, let's cut this bad spot out, see if we can't get this thing fixed. Trusty old knife out here. What we got here, we've got basically two separate electrical wires together. Just going to split them out. I'm going to take some of this off. I think I'm going to take off just a little bit more. All right. Looks like maybe half an inch. I might have been able to get away with a little bit less, but I want to be able to reach this stuff when I need it. Twist it together. All right, same thing on the other side. Okay, that's what we got. Going to get these spliced together, Then we're going to solder them up, and we're going to put some shrink tube on it, and we'll have this thing good as new in no time. Okay, so what I've done, we saw before, we made our cuts. We pulled off some of the protective covering on these wires, and now going forward, before we actually splice them, we're going to put some the shrink tube on it, and that'll keep us from having to use electrical tape. So I've got several different diameters of this stuff. I just cut a piece off, just figuring that should cover things after I've got everything soldered up. Then I've got some smaller diameter, and I cut some smaller pieces that will fit right over here, over the ends here. And so after the soldering is done, I'll pull this up over the bare ends, shrink it down, and you'll be looking good. And on this side, let's go ahead and put this on through, and then when soldering is done, we pull this across. Everything's covered up, shrunk down. We got a good solid repair. Okay, now in lieu of having my my little mechanical fingers that are on little pedestals that allow you to connect things up really easily and hold them in place, I'm going to kind of go a little ghetto here and use some pliers and all. Once I get things put together, it really won't be that big a deal, but it's nice to have things up off the ground and off the table before you start doing your work. So let's go ahead and just let these go for a second, and let's get these things twisted up. So really all you need to do is just kind of twist them, kind of like if you were twisting the twist tie on a loaf of bread. You want to twist the ends before you start and get them nice and tight. Try to get them put together good. But don't worry too much, because once you get the solder on them, they're going to be doing pretty good anyway. Alright. Alright. So let's get this soldering gun. Okay, we're going to be using some 6040 rosin core solder. Okay, and I'm dating myself and this stuff here. This is from Radio Shack. So this stuff is really old, but that's okay. It's going to work just fine. I'm going to use soldering gun. Alright, and these ends get hot when you pull the trigger. Okay, you got high and low. And what I like to do is I like to tin the end of my soldering gun here, let it get good and hot, and then I will put some of the solder on it, and that will make it a lot easier when I get under here. Alright, so I just put up under here, let things get hot. Okay. Oops. So there we got one soldered. Let's get this other one done. Doesn't take but a second. Once things are hot, you don't need to put a bunch of solder on things. We're not welding. We're not welding this stuff up. We're just melting solder. So we want to get it up under where you're soldering, get it hot. Okay. Could have cut that, cut back that insulation a little bit more, and I wouldn't have run into that. But what we have here is a solder joint now, joint or connection. All right. All right. So when I soldered these things on, so a little shrink wrap shrunk up, so I couldn't slide it over. So, you know what? We're going old school. We're going to use something really tough, like a piece of electrical tape on each side. And, you know, electrical tape works too. There's nothing wrong with it. It's what it's made for. You know, try to get it good and tight. Make sure it covers anything bare. You just don't want bare wire, touching bare wire. You know. Okay. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then we will pull up our other piece of shrink wrap and slide it along, and we'll shrink wrap that one on. And if by some reason that one doesn't want to work, guess what we're going to use? You got it. We're going to use electrical tape because this isn't really high. Shouldn't be getting very hot. Shouldn't be getting, you know, there shouldn't be a problem here. High temperatures, you know, something like that. It's not like the welding machine. Okay, so we want to slide this shrink wrap over top all this. All right. There we go. Shrink wrap. We're going to get the heat gun. Just a regular old heat gun from Harbor Freight. And let's go ahead and heat this thing up. Try to heat it up all the way around, one end to the other. Okay, I'll put that heat gun out of the way because it gets hot and it stays hot. All right, okay, this is the repair. If you touch it, still pretty warm, but you can see it has shrunk down. It looks pretty good. So I guess the only thing left here to do is to let it cool down a few minutes and then try it out. All right, let's try it out. It's cooled off, still a little warm. Got a real ratty pencil here. This never was a great pencil sharpener, but let's try it out. Let's plug it in and see what we got. Well, not bad. And I'll stick it back up on the table, and my granddaughter can be happy that she has a pencil sharpener again. That's it. Pops out.